The warning, the massive doors of the Galactic Council chambers slid open with a deep rumble that echoed through the crystalline halls of Station Nexus. Admiral Rebecca Torres walked through the entrance, her black uniform crisp and her silver hair pulled back in a tight bun. At 55 years old, she had spent 3 decades representing Earth in countless diplomatic meetings, but today felt different. The emergency summons had arrived just 6 hours ago, marked with the highest priority. Codes she had ever seen. The council chamber was a sight that never failed to impress her. The circular room stretched nearly a kilometer across, with seats arranged in concentric circles that could hold representatives from over 800 species. Today, however, only the inner circle was occupied by the 12 most powerful civilizations. In the galaxy, Rebecca took her place at the small chair marked with Earth's blue and green symbol, feeling dwarfed by the massive beings around her. To her left sat the Crystalline Collective's representative, a living gem creature that sparkled with internal light. On her right, the insectoid ambassador from the hive worlds clicked and chittered softly to itself, but all eyes were focused on the center of the chamber, where a holographic display showed a section of space marked with warning symbols in dozens of languages. Chancellor Vorthak of the Hegemony Prime raised one of his forearms to call for silence. The massive reptilian being stood nearly 3 meters tall, his scaled skin shifting between deep purple and black. When he spoke, his voice carried the weight of centuries of authority. Honored representatives, Vorthak began, we have called this emergency session to address a growing concern. The humans of Earth have been detected conducting survey missions dangerously close to the Omega Sector. Rebecca felt her heart skip a beat. The Omega Sector was one of the most restricted areas in known space, surrounded by automated warning beacons in every major galactic language. No ship was supposed to approach within 50 light-years of its boundaries. A new figure materialized. In the center of the chamber, the holographic form of Ambassador Dexera from the ancient ethereal consortium. The tall, elegant being appeared to be made of shifting starlight, with eyes like miniature galaxies. When Nexera spoke, her voice seemed to come from everywhere at once. Admiral Torres, Nexera said, focusing her cosmic gaze on Rebecca, your species is young and perhaps does not understand the gravity of what lies within the Omega Sector. We must speak plainly about the dangers you face. Rebecca stood and activated her translator unit. Ambassador Thexera, Earth, acknowledges the restricted status of the Omega Sector. Our survey missions have remained well outside the established boundaries. We are simply conducting routine exploration of unclaimed space. A sound like grinding stone emerged from the Hegemony representative. Routine exploration. Vorthak's voice carried obvious skepticism. Our monitoring stations have detected human ships approaching within 30 light-years of the boundary. This is closer than any species has dared to venture in over 10,000 years. The chamber fell silent as Ambassador Dexera began to project new images into the air above them. Rebecca watched in growing horror as the holographic display showed massive warships, each one larger than Earth's entire space fleet. But these mighty vessels were not triumphant. They were wrecked, twisted metal floating dead in space. Behold, the fate of those who have attempted to breach the Omega Sector, Dexera intoned. The Dominar Empire sent their greatest battle fleet 5,000 years ago. 300 ships carrying the finest warriors in their history. None returned. The images changed, showing different ships from different eras. Each one told the same story of destruction and loss. The Void Hunters tried next, believing their technology superior to all others. Their entire armada vanished. The Silicon Lords attempted to breach the scepter with automated drones, thinking to avoid the loss of life. Even their machines were destroyed before they could report what they found. Rebecca's mouth felt dry. She had read the historical records, but seeing the evidence presented this way made the reality much more frightening. What exactly is in the Omega sector that makes it so dangerous? Vexara's form flickered with what might have been sadness. An ancient automated defense system, created by a race that vanished from the galaxy long before any of our civilizations reached the stars. We call them the architects. They built something in that sector, something precious enough to protect, with technology beyond our understanding. Chancellor Vorthak leaned forward, his massive form casting shadows across the chamber. The defenses do not simply destroy intruders, Admiral Torres. They learn from each attempt. Every failed assault makes the system stronger, more adaptive. What began as a simple automated defense has evolved into something far more dangerous. Rebecca felt the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. Earth's colonial expansion had been driven by necessity, not choice. Their homeworld was overcrowded, and their first wave of colony ships had been launched toward the nearest habitable systems. Unfortunately, those systems lay in the direction of the Omega sector. Honored representatives, Rebecca said carefully, Earth appreciates your concern, but our colony ships are already in flight. They carry over 2 million civilians seeking new homes. We cannot simply turn them around. The crystalline representative spoke for the first time, her voice like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. Then they must find another path, Admiral Torres. The direct route you have chosen will take them too close to the sector's defenses. The alternative routes would add 20 years to their journey, Rebecca protested. Our colony ships don't have the fuel reserves for such a detour. Many of the passengers are already in extended cryogenic sleep to conserve resources. A heavy silence fell over the chamber. Rebecca could feel the weight of thousands of years of galactic history pressing down on her. These ancient species had survived by learning when to retreat, when to accept defeat. But humanity was different. They had never learnt to back down from the impossible. Ambassador Vexara's form brightened slightly, as if she had reached some internal decision. There is something else you must know, Admiral Torres. Our long-range sensors have detected unusual activity within the Omega sector. Energy readings unlike anything we have seen in centuries. Whatever the architects built in there, it appears to be awakening. Rebecca felt a chill run down her spine. Awakening. What does that mean? We do not know, Vexara admitted, but the energy signatures are consistent with advanced power generation. Technology, if someone could somehow bypass the defenses and reach the source. She left the sentence hanging, but Rebecca understood the implication. The Omega sector might contain the solution to Earth's energy crisis. The technology needed to power their expanding civilization, to fuel their colony ships, to build the infrastructure needed for humanity's survival among the stars. Chancellor Vorthak's voice cut through her thoughts like a blade. Do not even consider it human. Your species has already proven its recklessness by venturing so close to forbidden space. We will not allow you to doom yourselves through pride and ignorance. Rebecca's temper flared. With respect, Chancellor, Earth will make its own decisions about the safety of our people. We have faced impossible odds before and survived. Your species has existed in space for less than a century, the hegemony representative replied coldly. Races that have traveled the stars for millennia have been destroyed, attempting to breach the Omega sector. What makes you think humans could succeed where we have all failed? Before Rebecca could respond, her communication device chimed with an urgent message from Earth Command. She glanced at the display and felt her blood run cold. The message was brief but devastating. Colony Fleet Gamma experiencing critical power failures. Estimated fuel reserves, 6 months remaining. Rebecca looked up to find all eyes in the chamber focused on her. These ancient beings could probably read the desperation on her face. Her people were dying, their colony ships stranded in the void between stars. The Omega sector might hold salvation, but it also promised certain destruction. Admiral Torres, Ambassador Dexera said gently, "We can see that your species faces difficult choices. Perhaps there are alternative solutions we have not yet considered," such as Rebecca asked, though she already suspected the answer would not be what Earth needed. Relocation assistance, suggested the crystalline representative. Our worlds could accept limited numbers of human refugees. Refugee status, Rebecca repeated, tasting the bitter words. You're asking humanity to abandon our independence, to become scattered across the galaxy as dependent populations on alien worlds. Fourth act's massive form shifted slightly, what might have been the equivalent of a shrug. It is better than extinction, Admiral Torres. Your species has potential, but you lack the wisdom that comes with age. Perhaps serving under the guidance of more experienced civilizations would benefit humanity in the long term. Rebecca felt anger building in her chest, but she forced herself to remain diplomatic. I will convey your generous offer to Earth Command. However, I cannot make such decisions without consulting our government. The session continued for another hour, with various representatives offering similar solutions that all amounted to the same thing: humanity giving up its dreams of independence and expansion. When the meeting finally ended, Rebecca walked through the crystalline corridors of Station Nexus feeling more alone than she had ever felt in her life. Her shuttle back to Earth gave her 8 hours to think, and by the time she arrived at Earth Command headquarters in Geneva, she had made up her mind. The briefing room was packed with military leaders, scientists, and government officials, all of them looking to her for answers she didn't have. General Marcus Webb, the head of Earth's Space Command, was the first to speak. Admiral Torres, please tell me you have good news from the Galactic Council. Rebecca shook her head. I'm afraid not, General. The Council has made it clear that any attempt to approach the Omega sector will result in our expulsion from galactic civilization. They're offering refugee status on various alien worlds in exchange for abandoning our colonial expansion. The room erupted in angry voices, but Rebecca raised her hand for silence. However, there is one piece of information that might change everything. The Ethereal Consortium has detected massive energy readings from within the Omega sector. If we could somehow access that technology, it could solve our power crisis permanently. Dr. Elena Vasquez, the head of Earth's Synorcheology Department, leaned forward with interest. What kind of energy readings, Admiral? According to Ambassador Vexera, the readings are consistent with advanced power generation technology, far beyond anything currently available in galactic civilization. General Webb slammed his fist on the table. So, we have a choice between slow death as refugees or quick death trying to reach this technology. Those are our options. Before Rebecca could answer, a young voice spoke from the back of the room. What if there's a third option? All eyes turned to see Lieutenant Sarah Martinez, one of the youngest pilots ever to graduate from the Space Academy. At barely 20 years old, she had already earned a reputation as one of Earth's most skilled pilots, with reflexes and spatial awareness that defied explanation. "Lieutenant Martinez," General Webb said with barely concealed irritation, "this is a classified briefing for senior personnel only. What are you doing here?" "Colonel Harrison asked me to deliver the latest test results from the Phoenix project," Sarah replied, holding up a datapad. "But I couldn't help overhearing the discussion. You said the alien races have all failed because their approach has been too conventional, too predictable. What if that's exactly the problem?" Rebecca found herself intrigued despite the irregularity of the situation. "What do you mean, Lieutenant?" Sarah stepped forward, her dark eyes bright with excitement. "Every failed attempt you described followed the same pattern. Massive fleets, overwhelming firepower, direct assault. The defense system has had thousands of years to learn from these attacks. But what if we tried something completely different, such as?" Dr. Vasquez asked. "A single ship," Sarah said simply. "Small, fast, unpredictable. Something the defense system has never encountered before. The Phoenix is designed for exactly this kind of mission." General Webb shook his head. "Lieutenant, the Phoenix is an experimental ship. We don't even know if its systems will work properly in deep space, let alone against alien defense technology." Sarah's jaws set with determination that reminded Rebecca of herself at that age. "General, with respect, sending a single pilot in an untested ship seems like better odds than watching our colonies die or spending the rest of human history as refugees on alien worlds." The room fell silent as the implications of her words sank in. Rebecca looked around the table at the faces of Earth's leadership, seeing the same desperate hope reflected in each expression. "Lieutenant Martinez," Rebecca said slowly, "are you volunteering for what would essentially be a suicide mission?" Sarah met her gaze without flinching. "Admiral, my generation grew up hearing stories about the brave pilots who explored the outer system, who made first contact with alien races, who opened the stars to humanity. If there's a chance, even a small one, that I could save our colonies and secure our future among the stars, then yes, I'm volunteering." Rebecca felt a strange mixture of pride and terror. This young woman embodied everything that made humanity special in the galaxy: the willingness to face impossible odds, the refusal to accept defeat, the burning drive to push beyond every boundary. It was what the aliens called reckless. Humans called it hope. General Webb was already shaking his head. "Absolutely not. Lieutenant Martinez, you're barely out of the academy. This mission would require someone with decades of experience in deep space operations." "But General," Sarah protested, "doesn't experience also mean predictability? The defense system has defeated every experienced fleet that's ever approached it. Maybe inexperience is exactly what we need." Dr. Vasquez looked thoughtful. "There's something to be said for that logic, General. If the defense system learns from each encounter, then our best chance might be to do something it has never seen before." Rebecca studied the young pilot's face, seeing the determination there, but also the fear she was trying so hard to hide. Sarah Martinez was volunteering to fly alone into the most dangerous region of known space, knowing that 12 separate alien civilizations had already tried and failed. "Lieutenant," Rebecca said quietly, "do you understand what you're asking? You would be completely alone out there. No backup, no support, no way for us to help you if something goes wrong." Sarah nodded. "I understand, Admiral. But isn't that exactly why it might work? The aliens have always sent fleets, because they can't imagine succeeding with just one ship. But humans have always been good at doing the impossible with limited resources. The meeting continued for 3 more hours, with experts examining every aspect of the proposed mission. By the end, they had reached a tentative consensus. If the colony ships couldn't be saved through conventional means, and if the alternative was the end of human independence, then Sarah Martinez and the Phoenix might represent their only hope. As the other officials filed out of the briefing room, Rebecca found herself alone with the young pilot. Sarah looked smaller now, younger, and Rebecca could see the weight of what she had volunteered for beginning to sink in. "Lieutenant," Rebecca said gently, "you know there's no shame in changing your mind. What you've proposed is incredibly brave, but it's also incredibly dangerous." Sarah looked out the window at the stars beginning to appear in the evening sky. Somewhere out there, colony ships full of sleeping passengers drifted through the void, their fuel reserves running low. Somewhere else, an ancient defense system waited in the darkness, guarding secrets that might save or damn humanity. "Admiral," Sarah said finally, "my whole life, I've dreamed of flying among the stars, of being part of something bigger than myself. If I can help save our people's future, then whatever happens to me is worth it." Rebecca felt tears threatening to form. In her eyes, in Sarah Martinez, she saw everything that was best about humanity: courage, hope, and the refusal to surrender even when facing impossible odds. Tomorrow, they would begin preparations for a mission that would either secure Earth's place among the stars or mark the end of human expansion into the galaxy. But tonight, looking at the determination in this young pilot's eyes, Rebecca allowed herself to believe that maybe, just maybe, humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their weapons. Maybe it was their willingness to send their best and brightest into the unknown, armed with nothing more than skill, courage, and the unshakable belief that no challenge was truly impossible. The stars waited in the darkness, and somewhere among them, the Omega Sector held its ancient secrets. Soon, Sarah Martinez would discover whether humanity's refusal to accept defeat would be enough to succeed where an entire galaxy had failed. Into the unknown 3 weeks later, Sarah Martinez stood in the launch bay of Earth's most advanced orbital facility, looking at the ship that might save humanity or carry her to her doom. The Phoenix was unlike any vessel ever built by human. Hands, sleek and silver, about the size of an old atmospheric fighter. It had been designed using technology reverse-engineered from a dozen different alien species. Its hull could shift and adapt to different environments, and its engines were capable of speeds that pushed the very limits of physics. "She's beautiful, isn't she?" said Dr. Chen Wu, the Phoenix's chief designer. The elderly scientist had spent the last 5 years of his life working on this project, and his pride was evident in every word. The adaptive hull can reconfigure itself for optimal stealth or speed, and the quantum processors can calculate jump coordinates faster than any navigation computer in the human fleet. Sarah ran her hand along the smooth metal surface, feeling the slight warmth that indicated the ship's systems were active and ready. "What about the AI system? Nova, right?" Dr. Wu nodded enthusiastically. "Neural operations and virtual assistant. Nova is the most advanced artificial intelligence Earth has ever created. She's designed to learn and adapt in real time, which should help you respond to whatever the defense system throws at you." A voice emerged from speakers built into the ship's hull, clear and pleasant, with just a hint of synthetic modulation. "Hello, Sarah. I'm Nova, and I'll be your companion on this mission." I want you to know that while I cannot feel fear the way humans do, I am programmed to value your safety above all other considerations." Sarah smiled despite her nervousness. "Nice to meet you, Nova. Are you ready for what we're about to attempt?" "I have analyzed all available data on the Omega sector and the defense systems within it," Nova replied. "While I cannot calculate precise odds of success due to insufficient data, I believe our unconventional approach may provide advantages that previous missions lacked." Admiral Torres approached from across the launch bay, accompanied by General Webb and a small group of Earth's top military leaders. Despite the early hour, the hangar was buzzing with activity as technicians performed final checks on the Phoenix's systems. "Lieutenant Martinez," Admiral Torres said formally, "are you prepared for final mission briefing?" Sarah straightened to attention. "Yes, ma'am." They gathered around a holographic display that showed the route Sarah would take to reach the Omega sector. The path twisted through several star systems, avoiding the most heavily monitored space lanes to prevent interference from other galactic civilizations. "The journey to the sector boundary will take approximately 36 hours at maximum speed," General Webb explained. "Once you cross into restricted space, you'll be completely on your own. Our long-range communications can't penetrate the interference around the sector." Dr. Vasquez stepped forward with a concerned expression. "Sarah, we need to discuss what you might encounter once you're inside. The energy readings suggest that whatever the architects built in there is not just a weapon. It might be some kind of massive technological complex, possibly even a functioning city." "A city?" Sarah asked, her imagination immediately running wild with possibilities. "The energy output is consistent with a population center supporting millions of inhabitants," Dr. Vasquez continued. "But we have no idea whether those inhabitants are the original architects, their descendants, or something else entirely." Admiral Torres pulled up additional data displays. "Remember, Lieutenant, your primary mission is reconnaissance. If you can establish peaceful contact with whatever intelligence controls the sector, that's ideal. But if you determine that the technology inside could solve our energy crisis, and if there's any way to negotiate access to it, you have authorization to do whatever you think is best." Sarah felt the weight of that responsibility settling on her shoulders. "And if negotiation fails, then you return immediately," General Webb said firmly. "This mission is about hope, not heroics. We need you to come back alive with information, not to sacrifice yourself in a hopeless gesture." The final preparations took another 2 hours. Sarah suited up in the Phoenix's custom flight gear, a form-fitting suit that interfaced directly with the ship's systems. The helmet contained a heads-up display that would keep her connected to Nova and provide real-time information about everything around her. As she climbed into the cockpit, Sarah took one last look around the launch bay. Earth's finest engineers and scientists had worked around the clock to prepare for this mission. Dozens of support crew members had put their careers on the line to make the Phoenix ready for deep space operations. The hopes and fears of billions of people were riding on what she was about to attempt. "Nova," she said as she settled into the pilot's seat, "run a final systems check. All systems operating at optimal parameters, Sarah. Life support is stable. Navigation computers are online, and the quantum drive is ready for activation. We're as prepared as we can possibly be." Sarah took a deep breath and opened a communication channel to the launch control room. "Control, this is Phoenix requesting permission for departure." Admiral Torres's voice came through clearly. "Permission granted, Phoenix. Good luck, Lieutenant Martinez. Bring our people home." The launch bay doors opened to to reveal the star-filled void of space. Sarah engaged the Phoenix's engines and felt the ship respond like a living thing, smooth and eager. As Earth fell away below her, she tried not to think about the possibility that she might never see her home planet again. The journey to the Omega sector passed faster than Sarah had expected. The Phoenix performed flawlessly, its adaptive systems automatically adjusting for optimal speed and stealth. Nova proved to be an excellent companion, providing both useful information and surprisingly engaging conversation during the long hours of flight. Sarah, Nova said as they approached the sector boundary, "I'm detecting the automated warning beacons. They're transmitting warnings in over 300 languages, including some that haven't been used for thousands of years." Sarah looked at the display showing the massive warning buoys that surrounded the sector. Each one was the size of a small building covered in symbols and transmitters that had been warning travelers away for millennia. "Any sign of the defense systems yet?" Sarah asked. "Not yet, but that's expected. Previous reports indicate that the defenses don't activate until a ship actually crosses the boundary. Once we pass through that perimeter, we'll be in completely unknown territory." Sarah's heart rate increased as she guided the Phoenix toward the invisible line that separated normal space from the forbidden zone. Somewhere ahead lay the ruins of 12 alien fleets, the greatest military forces their civilizations could assemble. In a few moments, she would discover whether one small human ship could succeed where they had all failed. Crossing the perimeter in 3.2.1. Asterisk, the moment the Phoenix entered the Omega sector, everything changed. Sarah's instruments went wild, detecting energy patterns unlike anything in Earth's scientific databases. The space around them seemed to shimmer and twist, as if reality itself was somehow different here. "Nova, are you still functional?" Sarah asked, fighting to keep panic out of her voice. "I'm experiencing some interference, but my core systems remain online." "Sarah, I'm detecting movement. Something very large is approaching from the direction of the sector's center." Sarah looked at her tactical display and felt her blood run. Cold, a massive structure was rising from the depths of space, easily the size of Earth's moon, but clearly artificial. Its surface was covered in geometric patterns that pulsed with inner light, and it moved with impossible grace for something so enormous. "This is it," Sarah whispered. "The defense system the aliens warned us about." But as the massive structure approached, Sarah began to notice something strange. The patterns on its surface weren't random. They were clearly some kind of language or mathematical sequence, and the energy emissions weren't aggressive. They seemed almost curious. "Sarah," Nova said with what sounded like surprise, "I'm receiving a communication signal. It's incredibly complex, but I think I can translate it." Before Sarah could respond, a voice filled the cockpit. It was unlike anything she had ever heard, ancient and vast, but somehow gentle. "Welcome, small traveler. You are different from the others who have come before. Your ship is strange, your intentions unclear. I am the guardian of this place. Why have you come to the realm of the sleeping ones?" Sarah's mouth felt dry, but she managed to find her voice. "Guardian, my name is Sarah Martinez. I represent the human species of Earth. We come seeking knowledge and possibly aid. Our colonies are dying, and we need advanced technology to save them." "Humans," the Guardian repeated, the word echoing strangely in the cockpit. "Yes, I have heard whispers of your kind from the quantum foam. Young species, aggressive, unpredictable. The Council races speak of you with both fear and fascination." The Council racers warned us to stay away from this sector, Sarah said honestly. They said your defenses had destroyed every fleet that tried to enter.